Well, hey there, Life Warrior. Happy Monday. Quick question for you. Have you ever poured your heart into something only to be crushed when the results did not meet your expectation? It's definitely happened to me. Thank God for my yoga practice. Welcome to your Monday message. I am Dharma Shakti, your host, with your weekly dose of something inspirational, blending spiritual philosophy and personal development so that you can have the healing and the growth and the transformation that you seek, both on your mat and in your life. Welcome back. Let's dive into this verse that I have for you here today. This verse that I'm going to discuss for you comes from the Bhagavad Gita, and this verse really is your freedom. This verse embodies and encapsulates so much of yoga, but mostly bhakti yoga. And within it encapsulates the secret to your freedom. So let's dive in. Here is the Sanskrit. Are you ready? Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 47. The verse is Karmanye Vadikarashte Ma Paleshu Kadachana. This is a snippet of the verse. It's only half the verse. I just want to get into this particular part. So let's unpack this. This verse translates as, you have the right to work, but not to the fruits of your labor. And I'll just get a little more nuanced. You have the right to do your prescribed duties, but not to the fruits that come from doing those duties. This verse really encapsulates and embodies the idea of holding these two things at the same time, which can be difficult, but holding simultaneously non-attachment and effort. We are a culture that is so results oriented, so much so that we place often our value and our worth based on the results that we get from our effort. The problem with that is we're not always in control of the results. It's not just up to us. And there are many factors in the mix there. So let's unpack the Sanskrit for you here before I start to get into the breakdown. Okay, the first word is karmani. Karmani has the root word karma, or it has the word karma, and the root kri, which means action. So karmani, this means in action or to work. Te. Te means your, you, of you. So your work, okay? Adhikara is right or entitlement, and ma means not or never. Paleshu means in the fruits or in the results, okay? And kadachana is ever at any time. So again, just to translate this verse in wholeness for you, this verse, the beginning of this verse, there's a second part we're not discussing here today, just because I want to get to the essence of this. You are entitled to your actions, but not to the outcome. You are completely entitled to show up and do the things that you do, but you are not entitled to certain outcomes. You are not guaranteed certain outcomes. You are not, there's no like, I did this, so therefore I must get that. That's not how yoga philosophy sees it, especially when you're living and walking the path of karma yoga, or you're living the path of bhakti yoga. Really, all yogis, all seekers, all sadhakas are trying to embody this idea that we're showing up with the effort without the attachment to the outcome. I find that has been hard for me in my years of growing up, but I think that just our culture conditions us to be very results driven, very outcome focused. And so we have a hard time wrapping our heads around, why would I do something and not be attached to the results? So let's unpack why it would be helpful to do that, why it's important, why it is a very foundational approach to yogic living. This verse emphasizes performing one's duties. The translation of the karmanye is really like to do your prescribed duties. The things that you're accountable for, the things that you are responsible for. We have familial duties, we have social duties, we have personal duties, like just things that we are supposed to be doing. Okay, the actions that we're supposed to be taking. If you're a mom, you should be taking care of your kids. If you're a dad, you should be taking care of your kids. Right? This is a duty that you have when you play that role, right? When you're a student, your duty is to do your studies, to do your homework, to go to class, right? When you are a yoga teacher, your job is to show up and teach classes. When your duties are that you work at an office and you do the accounting, your duties are to show up and crunch numbers and organize them. Right? We all have sort of these prescribed duties based on our social roles that we have. This verse is emphasizing that we perform our duties with full effort, but without attachment to the results. They are not within your control, but your actions are. You should focus on doing the work itself without being motivated by what you gain or lose. And we need to find a way, and yoga provides us the tools and the abilities and the understanding of why it benefits us to move through life without attachment to the results, while also still showing up with full effort and attention and care to what you're doing. It doesn't mean that because you're not attached to the results that you're not attached to how you're doing the work. That's not what it means. It means that you show up wholeheartedly, willingly, right, with that willingness of spirit to do the thing, whatever the thing is, but without the results looking a certain way, right? Like the kitchen is dirty, there's dishes in the sink. You just show up, you do the dishes without the expectation that someone's going to thank you, or someone's going to comment, or someone's going to appreciate, or someone's going to praise you, or that anyone will even notice that you did it. You just do it willingly. Talk about 5 key points and why it benefits you to walk through life with this understanding and embodying this teaching and this timeless wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita. Like, why would we even do this? So here is point number 1. Detach from results, but attach to effort. Right? We detach from the results, but we are still attached to the effort. We still care about what we're doing. Point number 2. True freedom equals doing your best without clinging. It's really true freedom. Think about when you are, launching a project or starting a new endeavor, or you want to do something nice for somebody. There's a lot of stuckness. There's a lot of ways that we get hooked in when we are attached to our expectation of what the outcome is going to be. And then when that outcome does not meet that expectation, we're often left disappointed. So that leads me to point number 3. Outcomes are shaped by many forces and not just you. We're not in control of the outcome. We're not in control of all the things that are outside of us that are mixed into the equation of why the outcome is the way that it is. So when we relinquish that attachment to it, right, we are letting go of the things that we don't have control over. Point number 4, attachment breeds anxiety and detachment breeds peace. This is why we want to let go of our attachment or expectations to the outcome, because it can cause a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of worry. It can cause a lot of frustration, sadness, hurt, so many things. And when we let go of that attachment to our expectation of the outcome, then this provides us a space to kind of just be at peace with showing up to do the thing that we're doing. And my last point is non-attachment allows for joy in the process. When you can just kind of show up to do the work without being super fixed on how it's going to turn out, you tend to be more free, and you tend to access that place of play, that innocence, that childlike nature within you that can really just be in the moment and therefore bring the joy to what you're doing. So what might this look like in our sort of modern application of this old ancient philosophy into our everyday lives, where outcomes are, I want to say, a very powerful factor in our lives. It's not that outcomes don't impact us. Outcomes absolutely impact us. So how can we approach life without being so hooked into our outcomes? What's it look like in our modern life? So let's just try little baby steps with these ideas in mind. Okay, so in your work, what it looks like is focusing on showing up, focusing on serving, focusing on being present with the thing that you're doing, and just be all in. Have that willingness of spirit. Don't focus on the applause. Don't focus on the accolades. Don't focus on the praise. Don't focus on what the outside world is going to do. in reflection to how you're showing up. Just focus on serving. This is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga, which really is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, is when we can just do our work in the mood of service. Like, I'm here really to serve. I'm here to uphold this mission. I'm here to, help manifest this vision. I'm here to provide help. I'm here to, in the things that I'm doing, I'm serving. I'm not just doing it because I want a result. And when I can put that service first, before the result, it helps me access my heart a little bit more of like, I want to give this. Okay? Often we say we want to give, but when we don't get the thing in the end that we hoped we would get, that's a good indication that your ego snuck in there somewhere. And you weren't doing it just to give. You were doing it to give in order to get something, even if it was just a thank you or a hug or some praise or just being noticed. So let's start by just seeing the places in our lives where we can show up to just be of service. Okay? And then in our relationships, what might that look like? We want to try to love freely without expecting in return. This is a little harder. I'm not talking about letting your boundaries be crossed or to let yourself be treated in a really poor, negative way. What I am saying is we learn to love and give our love, to express our love, to show our love without expecting something to be matched or more in return. We give simply because we love to give. We give because it feels good to give. Okay? And especially when we're talking about relationships, we give to our friends, we give to our family, we give to our partners, we give to our spouse, we give to our beloved, we give to our family. We give our time, we give our attention, we give our effort, maybe we give gifts, right? The way that we show up, it feels good to just pour in. Where we get snagged up in the process is it feels good to pour in because what we get in return is something that pours into us. And now, ideally, yes, relationships are reciprocal. But imagine if we all embodied this idea that we were all just pouring in and there was no expectation in return, but everybody was a giver. We live in a world full of takers. And so that can sometimes make it hard for us to feel safe in giving. But your example and your participation and your role modeling in this idea will have a ripple effect, I promise you, when you can just give, when you just pour into others, because it's good to do that. It's good for others. It's good for you, okay? Regardless of the outcome, it's good to give. And when we can practice giving without expecting in return, we will be a lot more fulfilled. By virtue of our own actions, by virtue of our own way in which we walk in the world. Okay, so here are some reflective questions that can get you thinking about this a little bit deeper. And I do always encourage my yoga students to take baby steps. Like, don't... Sometimes we hear these concepts and we want to go really big with them, but I really just encourage you to start in the small places where it's easiest and safest and kind of build from there. But these questions are designed to get you thinking around, how can I apply this now? Like, not wait, but how can I actually put this into play in my life? So my first reflective question for you is, where am I attaching to results rather than focusing on the effort? This is such a common condition of our culture, is we're so fixed on the results and the outcome. Our worth and our value is even tied to the outcome. So what to speak of, just having more peace in your life without expecting anything in return. Let's also try to unhook ourselves from this concept that the outcomes are indicative of our value or our worth. Our value and our worth is inherently ingrained within us. And from that place can I show up and give. From that place of knowing can I show up and contribute to the world. And then ask yourself, when do I feel disappointed about outcomes? And kind of, scan your life and the different arenas of your life and notice, where do you feel most disappointed about the outcomes? Where is that happening most often? That's a good place to look and see how you can start to slowly unhook yourself from those attachments to the outcomes. And how can I shift to joy in the process? How can I start really being happy to just contribute my goodness and contribute my own value into the moment? How can you start doing that? And what does success look like if I release control? What does success look like if I release control? I just want to encourage you to really drop into this knowing and see if you can let yourself sort of settle, or at least just feel it out, this place of knowing that your worth isn't tied to outcomes. It's truly rooted in who you are. And when you can just show up as who you are and contribute your value, that's so much more of a fulfilling place to live than trying to do something to get a result so that your value is vindicated or your value is proven back to you by external things. Closing statement for you to just kind of wrap this all up in a nice, pretty little bow is that yoga teaches us to do the work and release the rest. This idea of yoga, of karma yoga, to do your duty and not be attached to the outcome, right? To do your duty, you're not entitled to an outcome, I think also embodies this idea of true surrender, which I know is also hard. But if we can just surrender, it is what it is. I'm just going to show up, I'm going to do my best, and the rest is not up to me. But I'm gonna rest in knowing that I at least showed up with my value and my worth, and that I poured into it what I could. The rest is out of my control. So do the work, release the rest. If you really enjoyed this Monday message and you'd like to go deeper into those journal prompts, I have a free PDF for you. I am actually going to leave the questions down below, the ones that I referenced here. But if you want the full PDF journal, I'm going to leave a link for you to hop over to my school account, which is totally free. You're going to have to become a member of that school account. Totally free. And then in there you can access all of my Monday messages and all of the PDF downloads. It's all organized for you in a very easy, accessible way, plus a lot of other free content that I will be putting on there outside of these Monday messages. So if you like personal development and you like spiritual philosophy and you like fusing them together like I do, please join me over on my school platform. My community is called the Empowered Living Community, and it is designed to empower you in your growth spiritually and personally as you do this beautiful earth walk. So if you enjoyed this week's Monday message, please do me a big favor and hit the like button. It helps to boost me in the algorithm, and maybe somebody else will randomly see this video and be inspired to show up this way as well. If you have something to say about what I'm talking about, a comment, a feedback, a question, or a challenge, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified every time I release a new Monday message, which is weekly. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure and a great joy of mine to contribute and to offer these deep insights of ancient wisdom for our modern times. I hope that you have an amazing week and that you do your best to just show up and release any attachment to the results, but still really care about the way that you're pouring yourself into what you do. What you do matters. What the outcome is has so many other factors besides just you. So do your best and let divinity take care of the rest. Happy Monday, my friends. I'll see you next time. Peace and blessings and so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste.